officially live for another episode of After Glow. Syya is my co-host. Syya, hello.
Hello, hello.
And we are joined by, I don't even know what to say properly, but Rashmi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for including me today. This is so much fun.
Oh, well, of course. And you were the reason. So we are talking about, we always like to have these after our Glow events, our digital, what's the official title of them? See, I know I should know this, and I'm drawing a blank.
Are you talking about After Glow podcast or the digital, the Global Leaders Organization digital events? So they're weekly.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Did I just freeze on you guys?
You did. Okay. We're going to get this. Is a slow roll figuring this out. But yeah, so Syya, why don't you tell us about who we chatted with yesterday? Because I know you lined that up through your connection with Rashmi, and Rashmi helped make it all happen. So I don't want to take away the thunder from you on that one.
No thunder needed taken. So as many of you guys know, I'm a big fan of wine. No surprise there. And I've been a member of the Raymond or Boisset Collection for like 5 years now, all due to a girls' weekend in Napa. We went to Raymond Winery, and I got to tell you, it was the most bizarre, beautiful experience ever. And that's the key word today is experience, because I think that applies into so many facets of businesses and our relationships in general. So that I just kind of stealing off. That's my word and major highlight that I took away from it. But anyway, Jean-Charles Boisset is beyond amazing, you guys. He's just a dynamic personality. I've met him a few times, and the only way I can describe him is charming. He will just sweep you off your feet and make you feel like you're the, Queen of England.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, Rashmi, we know her, Erin, you and I, just past relationships, and obviously, Rashmi, why don't you explain a little bit what you do as a CEO of Affinity Technology Solutions, and then how did you get wrapped up in this whole Boisset Collection bandwagon, if you will?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Syya. Thank you, Erin, for including me today. And yes, Syya, it was great to get that call from you where we started collaborating and talking about, what we could do with Glow and what's led to the event yesterday and today. So my name is Rashmi Malhotra, and I always say to everyone, I'm a former executive from the telecom technology industry, talk about people or women, breaking glass ceilings. I feel like I have accomplished a lot of that in my corporate world. And, in my last couple of functions, I was heading up marketing for Nortel Networks, and I was chief marketing officer for another company out of Israel. And one of the things that I used to love to do was travel all over the world. And as you travel the world, you get experiences. And one of the experiences I loved was wine and food. So everywhere I'd go, I would have a wine and food experience that was just created for me, and it heightened all my senses. And I want to talk more about the senses in a few minutes. So, fast forward to 2014, I just started Affinity Technology Solutions, which is a women-owned business, and I'm partnered with my brother, my fabulous, amazing brother. And as I was getting that established, a very good friend of mine approached me and said, "Hey, we're just doing some work for this company called Boisset, and they want to bring wine to consumers, create a model, and they were looking to build up Texas. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Oh no, not at all." Because there are many other companies out there, and I know that they're trying to get to consumers through the direct sales model, and it's really not my strength, and it's really not where I want to be. And, so sweetly, Cindy said, "Hey, just try the wine." And I'm like, No. She goes, can I just tell you a little bit about them? Nope, not interested. So fast forward about 9 months later, she had a Beauty and Bubbles party. And being when I was one of her clients, she invited me. And as we're standing around, I walk in, I get my glass of bubbles, and they're pink bubbles, and I'm like, oh, I'm not a big fan of pink bubbles, but you know what? I'll just have my first sip. I took my first sip, and she was watching me, and I'm like, is this? And she said, yes. And I'm like, oh my God, these are fabulous bubbles. So I always say that they had me at the 69, because that is the JCB 69, which is what Jean-Charles opened with yesterday, which is really what I should be drinking right now. So the JCB 69 is the year that, actually 69 is the year that he was born. And so he created these fabulous bubbles. And I say that the rest is really history, because after that, it wasn't, a situation where they were pursuing me. It was a situation where I was pursuing them. Mm-hmm. And I met with Jean-Charles shortly after that, and I was just like, this man is so amazing. We're talking 6 years ago, and I look at what we've accomplished, or what he has created in the last 6 years, and it is phenomenal.
It's insane. I mean, it's absolutely insane how much he's accomplished so quickly. So, I mean, on that note, I got a couple people here I want to give a shout out to real quick here, Rashmi, because what he's accomplished, I think everyone that's listening here and anyone that's going to be listening after the fact can accomplish as well. So quick shout out to Anna, Ade, Daniel, Leslie. Thank you so much for joining us. Melanie, I believe I see you there. In 6 short years, Jean-Charles was able to create an experience that Rashmi, who's a very pragmatic individual, that's not the kind that's like going to jump on the bandwagon, was immediately sold and into it. Why do you think that is, Erin? Do you think it was Jean-Charles' personality, or do you think he has got a real incredible business mind that he just was able to take advantage of it?
Well, can I say yes? I got both of those, because I mean, I think it would be such an honor to work under someone like him, with just his vision and his personality. Like, there is something, I don't want to double use the word here, but there's something special about a person like him who has that charisma to make anyone who he is with feels I'll use amazing instead of special, but he just has that where you can feel like he's known you forever. You're the only person in that room. And it's just, I love to see personalities like that. And I aspire to definitely be more like that. But also, he's an amazing business leader too. He's not only charismatic, but he obviously, a great mind. And, it's not just about building he's acquiring others. And he talked about his acquisitions and how he approaches those acquisitions. So I definitely think, yes, on both ends, he's truly inspiring, but very intelligent too.
You know what I thought was really, it struck me, is he is very much an optimist. If you had to describe personality types, I think everything for him is, to quote Daniel Abroad here, to him, life is pink bubbles, and pink bubbles is life, if you will. Do you think having that level of optimism is what helped him propel faster? Because I know a lot of pragmatic personalities where that is just not going to be them, but do you think that's going to deter success?
Rashmi, I'd love to hear your answer from someone who I'll chime in, but I'd love to hear your answer from someone who actually works with him.
Well, and so the 6 years are really the 6 years that I've been part of Boisset, and they've been around since 1961, as he was talking yesterday. I in answer to your question, yes, it is that optimistic. It is that visionary. I mean, whenever I think of Jean-Charles, I think about him being an optimistic visionary, so, I think that's a great way of describing him. He's a big thinker, You know, he's not one of those people that thinks small and does small. He's a big thinker. And, you know, while you may not initially see, you know, how things are connected or what the roadmap is, but at the end, it does all come together. And there are many, many different examples of this because, you know, I come from the business world. I look at everything from a business angle, you know, not necessarily financial rewards, but, you know, the impact, the bigger impact it's going to have on the world, and it's going to have on me and what I'm touching and what you know is being created around me. And I love that he does the same thing. So yes, in answer to your question, I would say he is definitely an optimist, but an optimist that is not afraid of taking risks and does what he intends to do.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I think, you know, even just on acquisitions or taking chances in your business, I think as entrepreneurs, business leaders, it can be terrifying because you can get very caught up in the what ifs, right? Well, I want to acquire this business, but ooh, what if? What if? And the truly great business owners and leaders, they may look at a what if or whatever, but they look at the upside. The upside always outweighs the downside, right? Where some people get caught in that, I don't want to grow, or this is too much money to spend, or this is, you know, check, check, check. It may all make sense, but there's still that that negative piece in their mind telling them not to do it. So, you know, from that optimism perspective, you have to have it in order to be at the level that he has. And I think it's got to be a huge driver for him.
So do you think that could be argued that right there what you described, Erin, is the difference between a small business owner and an entrepreneur?
I don't know. Entrepreneur can be so many things. Small business owner, yeah, but small business owner can mean so many things too. Like you could have 500 employees and still technically be a small business owner, and that's pretty darn good, right? Uh, I I don't know. I don't know how to word what the difference is, but there is a difference between those who kind of settle and do okay, do good, do well, versus those who take it to the high millions, the billion, the whatever. So I don't know. That's a really sloppy answer, but sorry, I don't know the
No,
exact definition.
no worries. What do you think? What do you think, Rashmi?
Well, you know, it's obviously a very fine line because, you know, entrepreneurs build businesses and become small businesses, but you know, it's the getting started. It's the bringing, and the way that I look at our business is, it's always bringing the new energy into it, and you know, always looking for ideas. Some of you may call me a hustler, but you know, I'm always looking and connecting with people that I'm going to that are going to provide me that energy and those ideas to continue to grow and continue to build. And so you know, I know where you're going, Syya, but I just don't know if I have a definite answer to define that. I just know that I'm just going to be an entrepreneur that's going to continue to look for new doors, new opportunities, new windows, you know, just as I continue to grow my businesses.
And that's
Well,
a fair answer, I
and
think.
I wanted to address too his joy of winemaking. I mean, to be in the business for as long as he has and to be so tied into what you love was just I think that was inspiring too. And do you feel that's just how much work, I'd love for you guys to chime in on this, do you think it takes to get to that level and maintain that level of happiness and joy in what you're doing from a business perspective? Because sometimes the business side sucks. We can be honest. Like it's, even though you love what you're doing, the business portion of it can be very difficult and it can take away, you know, you see that happen all the time. It becomes a business and the joy kind of goes away a bit. So I'm curious, like how much do you think he works and to build that and maintain that?
Rashmi, you first, girl.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, That's a very interesting question, Erin. But I'm going to turn it a little bit into what I think I have seen in the last 6 years. I think Jean-Charles has grown up in the wine world. You know, I love being part of this company because we have a Franco-American heritage. You know that, and I love that. I love the cross blending, and I love the rejuvenation and the, you know, the excitement that comes from, you know, not just being part of one um, uh, country, but, you know, having, you know, multiple countries that make up your identity. Because I personally, you know, I'm very proud of the fact that my birth country was India, my mother country is Canada, where I've grown up, and my adopted country is the US. And so I'm constantly, and I call myself a global person because I'm bringing all the energies of the global world together. And I see a lot of that. I identify a lot of that with Jean-Charles. And you know, in terms of the keeping the excitement alive, you know, while Jean-Charles didn't give himself enough credit yesterday, he truly is an amazing artist. I mean, I we'll talk a little bit about the alchemy of the senses, but you know, he has created a book, and I'll just pull this up because I know that
Show
he
the book.
shared it.
Look at
Yeah.
this ginormous thing, people. Look at this ginormous book.
I'm kind of hidden behind it.
Actually, you're struggling there.
Okay.
So we're gonna lose Rashmi.
It just kind of like overtook me, didn't it? But
That's the alchemy of the senses, right? It's not just your eyes. It's not just you sipping wine, you know, with your mouth, right?
yeah.
There's all other senses around it, and people call it maybe extra, but that book is extra for a reason, because he's trying to get you to jump into that book and immerse yourself to whatever's in there that I
Right.
don't have access to because I haven't seen it, but
Right.
just
And
seeing
so,
that.
right. And so that's, so I was going to answer your question, Erin, by talking a little bit about this, you know, so this is a lifetime in the making. So I, you know, I think if you look at it, you know, Jean-Charles has been creating this, and he is a creator. And I, you know, of course, he's humble, and he didn't discuss that yesterday. But you know, he's a creator. He's an artist. He's a lover of fine things in life, and yet, you know, totally grounded at the same time. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the alchemy of the senses, you know, so because I think that brings a lot of joy and energy and renewal in everything he does. So when we talk about the five senses, you know, because it's been a lifelong journey, you know, the first sense is taste. So, you know, we have these beautiful 29 wineries, you know, and that the wineries is all about the taste, the experience, the, you know, the joy of drinking the wines. And recently he's purchased the Oakville Grocer. So that all kind of ties into taste. You know, now it's the epicure, it's bringing the food and all of those experiences together. It's bringing wineries and wines that are outside of the Boisset collection to the fold. But it's, you know, like he was talking yesterday, it's, you know, meeting with people that are making jams and other products that are being, you know, collected and brought, you know, balsamic vinegar, olive oils, etc., that are now part of the Oakville Grocer, or an expansion part of Oakville Grocers. So that is the growth of taste. Taste is just beyond just the wines into the food aspect. Smell, you know, recently, and Jean-Charles talked about this, is that, you know, we're now offering these beautiful perfumes that have been created by one of the most famous perfumer, is that the right word? Or perfume maker in the world. You know, we've got candles, we've got all of these things that bring your sense of smell together. But you know what? I start always there by saying the smell of the wine. So it's taking the smell of the wine and expanding it. So again, it's bringing joy. So he's not just doing one thing, he's continuously expanding. Touch. I should have brought my Baccarat glasses, you know, so the whole thing about, you know, partnering with Baccarat to create this passion collection, the Boisset Passion Collection, which is around touch, bringing beautiful jewelry, which, when I touch it, I experience something. So it's bringing touch together, but it's creating an offering around touch. Sound. This is by far one of my favorite parts of the five senses. And can you guess why?
Oh, I don't know, LVE. Why did that happen?
God, you're such a smart girl, Syya. So it is a partnership that Jean-Charles has with John Legend. Yes, the John Legend, and so they're jointly together with John Legend and Stephanie Putman and Jean-Charles and the winemaker team. They are creating a collection of wines that, we are, equating that as part of our sound sense. So these are beautiful wines that, and if you were on our live with John Legend, he serenaded us with one of his songs. So it's just, are you getting kind of the idea of how, Jean-Charles has kind of created this vision? It's not this big vision, this big dream that he's had, and he's brought it all together. Now, when we talk about sight, this is also one of my favorites. Is experiencing, going to these tasting rooms that Jean-Charles is creating, these experiences that you'll have there with wine and food and all, that'll bring all your senses together. So those are the five senses as Jean-Charles has been describing. It's described in the book. He's been describing it. But the one that I think he's most proud of is what he calls the sixth sense. And to me, that's really bringing it all together. It's bringing the clarity. It's bringing the purpose. He says in women, it's the intuition that we have, which is a sense. I believe that everyone has intuition. It's whether you act on it, but it's this encompassing of all the five senses, and it's bringing your heart, your mind, and your body together. So, how does he continue to keep himself engaged and invigorated? And, yes, these are all acquisitions, but I always say that they're acquisitions with a purpose, because when they are brought into the Boisset fold, the brand and the identity of those acquisitions are kept intact. But they fit this puzzle, this visionary dream puzzle that, he's been creating and drawing in his entire life.
So if I could quickly just kind of pulling this all together, what you did there, what you've described is that total experience that we discussed, right? That it's not selling a product. If you think about it from a very rudimentary standpoint, he sells wine, right? It's a product. He understood, though, that it's not simply just, pouring a liquid into a glass and, chugging it or whatever, right? That there was so much more to it, that there was value around that total experience. You know who else did a really good job of doing that? And I actually was a former employer of? That's a hint. That's a hint. Do you guys remember? No? Okay, good.
Does it start with a D?
Yes, it does. Erin, what is it?
Like this tiny company out in California and Florida, something called Disney, something like that.
Exactly. Walt Disney did the exact same thing if you think about it. Different, obviously, medium, but he created Disneyland outside of just pure entertainment of his cartoons. He knew that there was a value in that immersive experience, and look at the juggernaut that it is today. Jean-Charles has created that for, I call the adult version of, Disneyland, if you will. The other thing, though, about that, why Disney was so successful and why Jean-Charles is so successful, and Daniel Lebrad mentioned this, he loved that he said it was about quality. So no matter what you do, never derail from the objection. The goal of quality. Always put out a quality product, and the experience will also expand out from there. If you put something cheap out there, people know. And there have been times when I've kind of, half ASS things, and it's obvious to clients, for example, or to friends and family. The other thing too, I want to add, because we've got some great comments, girls, and I'm just kind of trying to tie it all in here. The authenticity of that experience as well. Jean-Charles, you can see his heart and his soul. I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeves. And that's why I think it's so engaging to be with him. So the way we can still apply that to our own lives and our professional, engagements is no matter what we're doing is to be authentic, right? Because right now, especially now when we're doing things like this podcast, for example, we're not trying to sell anything because no one wants to be sold to right now. Now is not the time to sell anything, right, guys? And for him, it was like, remember how gorgeous it was when you drank wine with us. When times are better, you'll go back because you enjoyed that moment. Kind of like music, right, guys?
Mhm.
And then I'm trying to pull this all in. Sorry, I'm trying to make this all inclusive while in real time, and I just loved what you were doing there.
Can I just make
Into
a
it.
comment though, Syya? I loved how you recapped that. So thank you. Yes, I love your tie into Disney because it is one of the people that if he had the opportunity to have a Last Supper would be at the table with him. So sorry.
No, don't ever be sorry. Add comments. Don't ever be sorry.
Okay.
That's a female thing. You don't have to be sorry about anything but interjecting.
Okay.
The other thing, Daniel LeBron took amazing notes. I swear, I think he's going to be our official note taker from now on. But he mentioned the importance of peers, network, and family. And then this quote, I think it's going to be a future quote. When we fail, I fail because ultimately I am responsible for the decisions. What did you think about that quote?
So you cut out on me a little bit. Did you add the success part to
Oh.
that too?
Uh-oh.
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. If I didn't know
Okay.
if I cut out. Okay, so he's talking about the importance of peers, network, and family. With success, everyone
Yes.
celebrates together,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
But when we fail, it's because I failed
Yeah.
because I'm ultimately responsible. What do you think he meant by that, Erin?
Well, as a leader, it could get very, you want to celebrate and rise as a team because, people need to be part of something, right, to rise to. However, the last place you want to be is pointing fingers when things go wrong. And so I think a great leader takes on, it's not a one-way street both ways. We rise together, but I think as that, it's not about who did it. Wasn't me. Who did it? Let me point the finger. But all right, where did I mess up? Because this shouldn't have happened on my watch. And I will take responsibility for that. And instead of worrying about pointing the finger, it's like I remember when I used to work in corporate America, right? I used to keep the emails so I could point the finger. When the client messed up, I had that email proof that they said this and it wasn't wrong. And it never solves anything. It never solves anything. It's like, all right, there was an error. What did I do to not allow that error to happen? Was there a miscommunication? Was there something? And then how do we come to a solution and fix this? It's just he shows great leadership in that statement.
Absolutely. And that is that leadership quality that I think is a great takeaway for all of us. So we are wrapping up here. We got a couple minutes left. Rashmi, is there any final thoughts that we would like to talk about before we go on our wonderful time with Jean-Charles?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I just have this one last statement that I want to make because this is something that I strongly believe in, and I know that Jean-Charles has discussed it a lot. We're in a passion economy right now, everyone. What does that mean? That means that we truly have to follow our passion, and it's not, stepping into passion. And the why I got involved with Boisset is because that was my passion. The wine lifestyle was my passion, and I wanted to continue to be that passion to be part of my life. So, when you are in your passion and you're doing your passion, that's when you're not really working a day in your life. You are just doing what you love to do and everything follows. So my wish for everyone is that you find your passion and your joy in life and you are blessed no matter where you are in your life, you're blessed with that. So, thank you so much for having me today. And I just want to tell you how much I love you and how special you are to me.
Oh, thank you, Rashmi. Oh, Erin, now I'm verklempt.
I know.
So, parting thoughts for you, Erin?
No, I mean, I agree with Rod. I love that perspective of finding your passion. I think along with that, find the joy in what you do. There's just so many amazing takeaways, and I'm reading The Power of Now. I'm in a book club, and I aspire to be in the power of like living in the now. And I think just watching him yesterday, I'm like, this man is like textbook in the moment living. So anyway, just very, very inspiring, and to see somebody in that moment as successful as he is too.
Absolutely. So on that note, guys, we're at that 30-minute mark, but for more information on Global Leaders Organization, it is such a great community. It is all about commerce, capital, and community. What we're talking about, there is a digital side of the platform. It's not simply just a meeting network, meetup group, though that's not bad. There's just additional components to it. So if you want to learn about Jean-Charles Boisset, previous guests like Molly Bloom, Peter Thomas, I keep giving the wrong poor man's name. just the former chairman of Century 21 Canada. Okay, Peter Thomas. But also next week, Ed Rainmaker Robinson. Glow brings a great curated speaker series weekly every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. They are free to attend. By all means, check it out. See if you can find some business value like we got with Jean-Charles Boisset. And if you'd like to see, the further value to you to grow your business and to grow yourself professionally, Global Leaders Organization, go to withglow.com. If you have any questions here in the Dallas local area, Erin and I are the Dallas co-chairs. And of course, if you have questions regarding anything from a technology standpoint, you got Rashmi Malhotra. She is the CEO of Affinity Technology Solutions. And last but not least, if you want to learn about how to do a podcast for your own business or your own personal branding, talk to Erin and Syya at Innovation Media Enterprises. We are happy to help you. On that note, you guys, that wraps it up for another After Glow recap live LinkedIn Live. I say that backwards every time. Podcast. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.